Classic Gold, today's hits here on Breakfast with Pablo, and you're listening to Throwback Thursday, where each week we chat to a former reality TV star. And on the phone today, Liliana Battle from MasterChef. Liliana, good morning.
Morning, Pablo. How are you this morning?
Very good. Now, you were on the 2013 MasterChef. Does it feel like a lifetime ago that you're on our screens, or just the other week?
It does actually seem like a lifetime ago. It seems quite surreal when you actually think that I was there, and I think of myself, being on set and all of that going on. It seems like a very long time ago, and you start to have to pinch yourself that you're actually there, actually.
Now, looking back on it now, what made you decide to go on MasterChef?
I guess, obviously MasterChef is about cooking, and I've always loved cooking, and, people get sucked into these shows and watch it and then say to, me, you should go on this show. And I'm sure that happens with everyone who's on a reality show. There's something about it. Some people think they'll be good at it and they get encouraged to apply, and you do, not thinking you're actually going to get anywhere. And so then once they approve you and you're on, it sort of is a bit of a whirlwind, and you don't get time to really think too much about it. Suddenly it's there. So I guess it's just one of those have a go and see what happens kind of attitudes.
Now, what was the application process like with MasterChef? Did you have to go in? Did you have to cook something, or was it more about personalities?
Yeah, definitely we had to cook. So initially there was just an application form, and then a number of interviews over the phone, and then a trip to Melbourne to cook once, and then another time. And then in my case, I had the judges come to Port Hedland, and I had to actually cook a meal for them in my own home. So I had to cook 3 times to actually get onto the show.
Now, was it everything that you expected?
It was a lot of fun, and it was certainly all the pressure and all the challenges that I was expecting. There was some things about it that I wasn't expecting that I felt uncomfortable with, things like being away from my family, not having contact with your family. That was really difficult. And yes, there was a little bit of, big personalities going on, and some people who, in my opinion, may have been there more because it was a reality show rather than a cooking show. Yeah. So that, it's just being stuck in a house with people that you may not necessarily give the time of day in an ordinary situation, but have to live with them because of the show, was quite an interesting experience.
Now, have you watched much of your time on the show?
I watched it the one time when I came home, and because it didn't air until after, obviously we filmed just about the whole thing. So I watched it every night when it was on, but I have never watched it again because it was bizarre. Yeah.
You found it quite bizarre. Now, talking about where you are now, fill us in on what you're doing after and post MasterChef.
Yeah, I do. Actually, been really busy with my catering business, which has just been mad. And I love cooking, and that's obviously why I went on the show. So it's so good to be able to now cook for a living. But I'm also got a cookbook coming out on the 1st of May, so that's really exciting, and that's something I've wanted to do for a long time. So that, I guess, gave me a kick up the bottom and some direction, and opened some doors for me to be able to have that happen. And I've got a food product that will be on the shelves in the next month or so. That's in manufacture at the moment. So definitely have a life in food, and definitely, it has definitely opened doors for me, and it has been a very positive experience.
Would you do it all again, or would you go on another reality TV show?
I wouldn't say no to doing it again, but I think if you did it again, you'd definitely go in with a very different mindset and very aware of what's going around you. I found, looking back, I took everything very personally. I was very sensitive. I was very worried about my family at home, and you sort of and I was very emotional. And looking back, I think to myself, it was such a short time. You got so caught up in it, and I guess it's because they keep you in a bubble and you can't help it. So I guess if I had to do it again, I guess knowing that it isn't real. Yes, they want to play on my emotions, but it's my decision whether or not I allow them to. Maybe be a bit more strategic. You'd definitely go into it differently, and maybe enjoy it a little bit more because you kind of know what to expect.
Now, MasterChef is obviously a little bit different. It's similar to Oz Idol. Like you're playing off your talents, unlike, say, Big Brother, for example. The Mole, it's more about personalities put in a house, and we just watch them. Would you go on a reality TV show like that, or you always had your mind made up that it would be MasterChef or nothing?
Oh, look, for me, it's not about me being on TV or being a personality. And in some respects, even though you think it is talent-based, there is a very large component of personality and TV that comes with MasterChef, and probably does with Idol and all of those as well, that is behind the scenes and you don't really see. So for me, it was all about, I love to cook. I thought I could cook well. I wanted to go out there and prove myself and do those challenges and do them well. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because they also throw you in team situations where you need to rely on other people, and those sorts of things were frustrating because you didn't actually get a chance to do your best. There's a sort of lot of game playing and strategy that goes along with it. So that side of things, like the mole and those types of things, I don't know how I'd go with that. I think I'd get very frustrated with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still watch MasterChef?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it was a great experience for me, and something I'm very lucky and privileged to have been a part of. I mean, not many people get to do that, and I still have connections with MasterChef, and I like watching all the cooking shows. To be honest, it is entertaining, and that's why they've got big personalities on these shows. And they need to. All the people who aren't necessarily into cooking wouldn't watch them, but I love watching it just for the cooking side of things, and I love how it has made people want to cook, and it's fantastic. Especially kids. Kids love the show, and Kids in the Kitchen. It's all come out of these shows, and I think that's a really positive thing from it.
Now, last but not least, do you still keep in contact with any of the other contestants?
Yes, I do. Not all of them, because obviously I'm the only one in Western Australia. So, we've got social media connections and that kind of thing, which is probably the main way. But I've made some other connections from like ex-contestants, and the judges are great with advice and open to emails and chatting sometimes. So the connections are always open once you've been through something like that. Everyone wants to help you, and everyone wants to see you do well. So it's actually very positive.
Now, I found out recently that The Biggest Loser has a reunion every year. Does MasterChef do the same?
No. There's no reunions, no.
You may have to propose that one.
Sorry, I may have to propose it. That would be, well, I can see why with The Biggest Loser, because it'd be interesting to see if everyone kept the weight on. Yeah. No, with MasterChef, I think we all lose weight when you go back home, because you're not in the house cooking and eating all day.
Well, Liliana, it's been great catching up with you and seeing where you are now, and thanks so much for taking your time out today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for talking to me, Pablo. Have a good day.
Classic Gold, today's hits. Spirit.